be taken into consideration.
कुछ बोलिए।
अध्यक्ष महोदय, आपका धन्यवाद करते हुए सबसे पहले तो मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा, और मुझे विश्वास है कि सभी सदस्य इससे सहमत होंगे, कि एक बड़ा ही महत्वपूर्ण बिल है और ये भी कहा जा सकता है कि एक ऐतिहासिक विधेयक, क्योंकि संसद के इतिहास में कभी कभार बहुत बरस गुजर जाने के बाद कोई ऐसा क्षण आता है, कोई ऐसी घड़ी आती है जबकि तत्कालीन माननीय सदस्यों को, सिटिंग मेंबर्स को ऐसा मौका नसीब होता है कि वो राष्ट्र की जीवन यात्रा को एक नया रुख देख सकें, एक नई दिशा दे सकें। और इसलिए यदि आज हमें इस क्षण की अहमियत का शायद उतना शिद्दत से एहसास नहीं हो रहा, लेकिन मुझे यकीन है आने वाली नस्लें जब इस मुल्क का इतिहास, तारीख लिखेंगी तो ये विधेयक एक मील के पत्थर, एक माइलस्टोन की तरह उल्लेखित किया जाएगा। एक ऐसा विधेयक अध्यक्ष महोदय जो कभी किसी ने उम्मीद ना की, कभी कल्पना ना की, कभी तवक्को ना थी, और ये इसलिए संभव हुआ that we have a Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, who has the capacity to take out-of-box decisions and to break the taboos of the past. इस विधेयक का टाइटल है सस्टेनेबल हार्नेसिंग एंड एडवांसमेंट ऑफ न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी फॉर ट्रांसफॉर्मिंग इंडिया, अर्थात जैसे आपने कहा शांति। और इस टाइटल का महत्व इसलिए भी बढ़ जाता है कि आज से 60-70 बरस पहले जब हिंदुस्तान ने अपना परमाणु कार्यक्रम शुरू किया तो दुनिया भर में एक बड़ा तनाव का माहौल था। हिरोशिमा नागासाकी को हुए कुछ ही बरस गुजरे थे और बहुत सारे देश हिंदुस्तान को शक की निगाह से देखने लगे थे। और उस समय परमाणु कार्यक्रम के जन्मदाता, द फाउंडिंग फादर ऑफ इंडियाज न्यूक्लियर प्रोग्राम, होमी भाभा, had declared to the world that India's nuclear program will be dedicated to peaceful purposes. Speaker sir, today the moment of vindication has come, and the vindication was destined to happen through Prime Minister Modi. अब इस बिल को लाने का भाव क्या है, कारण क्या है? जैसा कि हम सब जानते हैं कि भारत का भौगोलिक स्तर पर रोल भी बढ़ रहा है, भूमिका भी बढ़ रही है। एंड इफ वी हैव टू बी अ ग्लोबल प्लेयर इफेक्टिवली, वी हैव टू लिव अप टू ग्लोबल बेंचमार्क्स, फॉलो ग्लोबल पैरामीटर्स एंड अडॉप्ट ग्लोबल स्ट्रेटजीज। आज सारा विश्व क्लीन एनर्जी की जानिब बढ़ चुका है और हमने भी अपने लिए लक्ष्य निर्धारित किया है कि न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी 100 गीगावाट बाई 2047 जब हिंदुस्तान अपनी आज़ादी की 100वीं सालगिरह मनाएगा। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने पदभार संभालते ही कॉप मीटिंग में घोषणा की थी नेट जीरो बाई 2070। उस लक्ष्य की प्राप्ति के लिए और बढ़ती हुई एनर्जी की ज़रूरतों को पूरा करने के लिए तथा आत्मनिर्भर भारत के लक्ष्य को पूरी तरह प्राप्त करने के लिए ये भी जरूरी है कि हम पेट्रोलियम, फॉसिल पदार्थों पर अपनी निर्भरता कम करें। उस सब को मिला करके जहां आज हमारी न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी की कैपेसिटी मात्र 8.8 गीगावाट है, हालांकि जब ये सरकार आई तो तब इतना भी नहीं था, उस समय केवल 4.4 गीगावाट थी, दुगने से अधिक हम बढ़ गए। लेकिन उसको 100 गीगावाट तक पहुंचाना ताकि 2047 में हमारी एनर्जी की रिक्वायरमेंट का 10% हिस्सा न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी से आए, बिकॉज न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी इज इन सम वेज सुपीरियर टू अदर सोर्सेज ऑफ रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी, because renewable energy may not always provide 24/7 reliability of supply, which is only through the nuclear energy. और इसको लेकर के अगर आप कहें तो संक्षेप में मैं बताऊं कि क्या हम, ठीक है, अध्यक्ष जी का कहना है कि इसके बाद पूरा जवाब दिया जाएगा, अन्यथा अगर आपका आदेश होगा तो कुछ महत्वपूर्ण बिंदु अगर उल्लेखित करने होंगे तो मैं उसके लिए भी तैयार हूं।
अभी आपको ही जिम्मेदारी है। माननीय मनीष तिवारी जी
धन्यवाद अध्यक्ष जी. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to oppose the sustainable harnessing and advancement of nuclear energy for transforming India, alias the Shanti Bill 2025. This bill seeks to repeal two seminal legislations, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Atomic Energy Act of 1962 and the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damages Act 2010 and replace it with a new architecture. Since the Honourable Minister, in his introduction, chose to speak about the history of India's nuclear program, allow me to spend 5 minutes recapping as to how did we get to this point. It was India's first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who pioneered India's nuclear quest. On the 3rd of August 1948, he set up the Atomic Energy Commission, which was anchored by the legendary scientist, the late Dr. Homi Bhabha. On the 3rd of January 1954, it was the Nehru government which set up the Atomic Energy Establishment in Trombay, and on the 12th of January 1967, after the very tragic demise of late Dr. Homi Bhabha in a plane crash, AI 101 went into Mont Blanc, the mountain, on the 24th of January 1966, the Atomic Energy Establishment in Trombay was dedicated in his name and renamed as the Bhabha Atomic Research Center. India's nuclear program till about the late 60s or even the early 70s was a peaceful quest. But it was on the 18th of May 1974 that Prime Minister late Mrs. Indira Gandhi carried out the first peaceful nuclear explosion. The test was called the Smiling Buddha, and the Buddha did indeed smile. And it would be important here to recap that Bangladesh 1971, the peaceful nuclear explosion of 1974, and then the incorporation of Sikkim into India in 4 years, Mrs. Gandhi had changed the geopolitical map of South Asia and put India on the nuclear stage globally. However, when a nation takes bold steps, it comes with a consequence. And India's peaceful nuclear explosion came with the consequence that the P5 nations, those who had established the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty in 1967, came together and formed the Nuclear Suppliers Group, but also called the London Club. And interestingly, these were about 14 countries which went across the Cold War divide, the East Bloc and the West Bloc. And the only objective of the Nuclear Suppliers Group or the London Club was to deny India access to nuclear technology. On the 11th and the 13th of May 1998, Prime Minister Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, late Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, carried out India's second series of nuclear tests, but the sanctions against India only tightened after that, despite the Jaswant Singh Strobe Talbot dialogue, which went across a couple of continents at that point in time. Finally, it fell to a UPA government under the leadership of Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh to break that nuclear apartheid. And it was in the July of 2005 that the Indo-US nuclear deal was initiated. On the 18th of August 2008, the India-IAE Safeguards Agreement was signed. On the 6th of September 2008, India got a waiver from the nuclear suppliers group, and we've not got that waiver after that till now. It has been over 17 years, and we've not got membership of the nuclear suppliers group. And finally, on the 10th of October 2008, the Indo-US Civil Nuclear Deal, also called the 123 Agreement, was signed. And ironically, while Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh's government was trying to break nuclear apartheid, जो परमाणु रंग भेद नीति थी, उसको जब तोड़ने का प्रयास किया जा रहा था, हमारे परम मित्र जो उस तरफ बैठे हैं, उन्होंने क्या किया? वो 23 जुलाई 2008 को उस सरकार के खिलाफ, जो भारत की परमाणु रंग भेद से जो पीड़ित था, उसको तोड़ने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, उनके खिलाफ इस सदन में अविश्वास प्रस्ताव लेके आए। It is important that you reflect on your own conduct. When the UPA government was trying to break India's nuclear isolation and nuclear apartheid, you brought a vote of no confidence against that government. It's another matter that no confidence motion was defeated 275 to 256 with 11 abstentions. Now let me, अरे इतिहास तुमको समझाना बहुत जरूरी है. History is very important because you people tried to derail India's nuclear program. You tried to derail India's nuclear program. You were an impediment in breaking India's nuclear apartheid. That's a history that you should not forget. That's a history you should not forget. You covered yourself with ignominy. आपने भारत का जो परमाणु ट्रैजेक्टरी थी उसको डिरेल करने की कोशिश की राजनीतिक कारणों से. अध्यक्ष जी, प्लीज एड्रेस द चेयर. इनको बिठाइए. लेट द हाउस बी इन ऑर्डर. लेट द हाउस बी इन ऑर्डर. लेट द हाउस बी इन ऑर्डर. सर, सच्चाई कड़वी होती है अध्यक्ष जी.
I will be giving opportunity to you to
अध्यक्ष जी,
let him come.
सच्चाई कड़वी होती है. Now let me. Now, Mr. Chairperson, sir. अरे तो शुरुआत आ गई. अनुराग जी जरा बैठ जाइए. Now let me, Mr. Chairperson, sir, come to the merits of this bill. Now, government has brought the present bill to open up the civilian nuclear sector to private participation. Clause 3-1-C of the bill. There is speculation that government wants to bring in 49% to 100% foreign direct investment into the sector. What strikes me as very strange, Mr. Chairperson, sir, that a conglomerate which has built an empire on leased public assets announces its intent to enter the nuclear energy sector in late November 2025, and in December 2025 we have this bill. Is it a coincidence that the Adani group of companies announces its intent to participate in the civilian nuclear sector, and within a month we have this bill in the House? Is it a coincidence? I'm merely raising a question. I'm not imputing any motives. I am not insinuating anything. I am merely...
1 second, please. Honorable Minister, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'm not yielding. I'm not yielding. The minister can reply when he has to. No, I am not yielding. No, I am not yielding. No, I am not yielding.
The Honorable Speaker asked me to be brief and not to touch upon the salient features of the bill. Otherwise, I was going ahead with that. Now, nowhere in the bill has there been any intention, obviously or inadvertently, reflecting that this is meant to benefit a certain house. Now, this is an allegation which puts the entire house into disrepute. We are practicing the highest norms of democracy, and nowhere in the bill. So this is totally an unfounded and a politically motivated charge which has no reflection on the body of the bill.
आप बैठिएगा.
Mr. Chairperson, sir.
Honorable Minister has
Mr.
replied.
Chairperson, sir, I wasn't making any insinuation. I wasn't imputing any motives. I was just saying that is it just coincidental that this has happened?
Honorable MP, sir, you already mentioned it could be a
So
coincidence.
let me go further, Mr. Chairperson, sir. And let me come to, since this bill seeks to repeal the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damages Act 2010, let me also recap what happened in this House on the 25th of August 2010, since I had led the debate on that particular bill on that particular day in this very House. So on the 25th of August 2010, the then MOS Prime Minister's office, Mr. Jitendra Singh's predecessor, Mr. Prithviraj Chavan, came before this House and he said, and I quote, and I'm quoting from the proceedings of the Lok Sabha, "Sir, I have come before this House and say with all humility that there is an unprecedented political consensus across the political stream, including the civil society or whatever people we could bring on board. There was a slight contention about a few items. We explained the logic of why we brought in some of the amendments, particularly the amendment to Clause 17. Now, what is this Clause 17? Specifically, Clause 17B. Let me read it out for the perusal of this House. So, the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act 2010 said, and I'll read 17B, the operator of the nuclear installation, after paying compensation for nuclear damage in accordance with Section 6, shall have a right of recourse where B says the nuclear incident has resulted as a consequence of an act of supplier or his employee, which includes supply of equipment or material with patent or latent defects or substandard services. Now, this was a clause on which there was a consensus across the House, across all political parties, that this needs to be included. Now, let me contextualize it. Why was this important? Because the Department of Atomic Energy, which leads India's nuclear program, felt that if we are going to be going into a collaboration where foreign supply